So, as I say, today is with Find Your Voice with Pamela. She's from Ireland. She's an inspirational speaker, coach, and founder of Find Your Voice podcast as well. And she works with men and women who've been affected by trauma and to enable them to find their own voice. So, fingers crossed. Hurrah!
Hello!
Finally! I've got no idea.
At long last. These things happen, so don't worry about it. There's no point in panicking. Sure, look, it'll all work out.
We had this problem last time round, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And I actually looked back at that, and that was...
It was a couple of years ago.
July 2019. Actually, I had you on my page, yeah.
And it's really weird because when I did this the other week with another colleague, I literally sent her the link and she was just able to log straight on. So I'm not quite sure what's gone wrong this morning. I've even resorted to the phone from the desktop. So yes. So who knows what's going on? But thank you for and perseverance. And for those who have and are joining us, this is Pamela. She is based over in Ireland. She's the founder of Find Your Voice podcast, inspirational speaker, and also a coach. Now, I've wasted far too much time this lunchtime, so I'm going to straight over to Pamela so she can share with you who she is and what she does on today, International Women's Day. It's over to you, Pamela.
Well, thank you so much for having me. So finally be able to connect here. So it must be something maybe on my end, I don't know, but anyway, we're here and that's the main thing. So my name is Pamela Galligan. I'm an inspirational speaker, coach, and I am also the founder of Find Your Voice, which is a new podcast that's coming out. And also on Facebook, I have my own Find Your Voice personal blog. So over the last 4 or 5 years, I've chosen to come out and speak about my own mental health journey and be able to basically just share my own experience to give others hope and to give others light as well. So from doing that, it's really opened up. So it's opened up a huge conversation, really, a conversation that is so hush hush and a conversation that is still seen as taboo, that people don't want to talk about abuse and don't want to share their own experiences. And I found from coming out and sharing my experience, the amount of messages that I was receiving was from all ages of all walks of life, from people who have been carrying this burden for years. Like I've had, ladies and men in their 60s, 50s, all ages. I've had young people in their 20s and stuff, come to me and just, open up more because they've carried this for so long. They haven't spoke about it to absolutely anybody.
No.
So it's for me, it's opening up the conversation to make it okay for people to come out and share their own mental health journey, no matter what that might have been. Mine obviously was abuse, and that was my story. It doesn't have to be that. It can be whatever, what's going on for another person. But it's so important that we don't feel shame and we don't feel embarrassed about coming out and sharing our actual stories, because the more people who comes out and talks and shares, well, we create a roadmap for other people who are struggling right now. Yeah. And there's so many people out there, especially in these crazy times, that are really, really struggling.
I was going to say, have you noticed, obviously in the last 12 months, has there been an increase in the people that are joining your group and reaching out to you?
A lot of people who unfortunately are stuck at home in situations that they would rather not be. And also the other side of it, that people are at home and there's more time to think.
Yeah.
There's more time for them to come face to face with a lot of past issues and current issues that they would be avoiding in the normal world, because life is busy for us all. So in the normal world where people are going to jobs, they're coming home, they're getting the kids out to, to whatever activities the kids are involved in, it's busy, busy, busy.
Yeah.
Where, this has allowed people to stop and to actually come face to face with themselves, which is tough and which is hard to do for a lot of people,
Yeah. I mean, I know in my own line of work, I've had a lot of dealings with old people that have been very lonely and really struggled with their mental health. Do you deal with the younger generation as well? Are you finding that they're struggling right now?
The younger generation are struggling massively. I have two kids, obviously, myself, 14 and 10. And, you know, my teenager wouldn't be as bad. She's just enjoying that, going to school and being a teenager, hiding and hibernating in the bedroom for half the day and coming out when she's hungry. But it's like my little guy who's 10, he would be more in tuned, I think. He'd be a heavy thinker, like a deep thinker, I suppose, like myself.
Yeah.
And it's created a lot of anxiety because the social interaction he is missing. He's missing that from his friends at school. He's missing that from basically, you know, playing soccer, going out, talking to his friends, meeting up, all of that. And to suddenly have nothing. So it causes a lot of anxiety within kids, you know?
Yeah. So any parents that are in your sort of position, or any individuals that have experienced mental health issues over the years, what hints and tips would you give? What strategies have you used that have helped you along the way?
Yeah, I actually just spoke about this yesterday on my podcast. I was recording 2 episodes yesterday for it. And one of it was, you know, sharing the different tools that helped me along my journey. Because look, we're all on a journey in this life, no matter what. We're all given a path to walk, some harder than others. But yeah, for me, it was a lot. Obviously, I went to counselling for a lot of, like, for probably well over a year consistently.
Yeah.
And me, where I spoke yesterday, now I chose this for my own healing, and I chose to go back to what had happened to me, and I had to relive all of that again. So I had to take those 100 steps backwards before I could take that step forward. And that was the way I chose to deal with my healing. And I know there's a lot of intervention and stuff out there where, you know, you start from where you are now and you move forward. You don't have to go back.
Yeah.
But for me, it was important too, because I felt that if I didn't, I could be running from this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it hanging over me. I wanted this, you know, I wanted to make something good out of what had happened to me. I wanted to turn it around into something positive, and to be able to be proud to share my story and to really own it and to help others. So counselling was a huge thing for me. And even though it was tough, there was times I would come out of it and I felt as if a bus had hit me and I would be drained for days. Also, I did a lot of like Reiki, and I did a lot of wellness energy therapy, which was, you know, getting rid of all the emotional blocks within my body.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming out of my head and getting more into my heart and leading from there more so than from my head. And I still continue to do that, and I still continue to go to that. I was only at it a few days ago as well. So that is a huge self-care for me. Whenever I find myself dip in energy and I need that, you know, relaxation, I need that release, that is massive for myself.
Yeah.
I've done other stuff. I've done loads of, let's say, you know, letters, self-love letters, forgiveness letters on both sides, which helped me loads, because it was really getting everything out on paper, because we hold so much in our heads.
Yeah.
And, you know, even so much on our chest. So it's so important to offload that and to offload it, you know, onto a piece of paper, all your emotions, all your feelings, all your anger, absolutely everything that has built up in you. And it's so powerful. And I think a lot of people don't realize the power that it actually has. So by putting it down on paper, and I remember just even ripping it all up and, you know, throwing it away, burn it even, because you're getting rid of all that negative energy and you're just releasing all of that from you. And I love music. I love podcasts. I would, you know, anything uplifting and positive. Listening to the lyrics of songs really mean a lot to me. I really pick up lots from meaning of songs. So, you know, those are things. Gratitude is massive as well. And, you know what I mean, learning different coping ways. These are tools that I would take out from my backpack whenever I need them. Yeah. My kids would use them. You know, we all walk through so many different hurdles in life. And I went through a separation 5 years ago, and I took those tools back out again. Yeah. And I needed them, and I needed more counselling. And I think I want to be able to, even with my podcast, for people to put their hand up and say, right, I'm going off to get counselling today, without judgment, without being frowned upon. without them feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that it's so a norm that people can actually say, well, yeah, this is, you know, this is what I need for today, and this is my journey, and I'm going to go and do it. Like, so,
No.
you know.
No, that's powerful. I know that some of those tools that you've used, I've used myself, and I particularly enjoy the whole burning. Well, there's something quite satisfying about that when you're ready to completely and utterly let go. What impact would you say that it's had on those around you since you undertook your own healing journey?
I think it's really allowed the conversation to really open up, and I think it has allowed people to, suppose, to see me in a different light. I was carrying so much. I was probably acting out in ways that people didn't understand, and people didn't know my story. They didn't know the true Pamela. They didn't know the true me, and I wasn't aligned with myself. So I guess for me, I always found I was living a lie. I couldn't be my true self, and you know, over the last couple of years, believe me, it's been extremely tough to come out and to share so publicly your story. But by doing so, it has really allowed me to heal, and other people to, I guess maybe from people, you know, judgment is so present a lot of the time in this world, and people would perceive you to be a certain way or judge you because you're a certain way. But people have to remember there's so much more to somebody than, you know, than looks or whatever the case may be. If you look at somebody, we can all have an opinion of somebody or create a judgment around somebody. But once you dig deep and really get to know that person and, you know, hear their journey, and I love hearing people's stories now, and I would tell a lot from people's eyes, because I love listening to people's stories. It lights me up, because I love hearing how people have gone from such darkness and gone through such crap and have chosen to turn that around and to use that, you know, for something really positive, really uplifting, to help so many, you know, to help so many other people. Because there's so many people that will never, you know, God give me a voice, and it took me over 23 years to find my voice, and I will never, ever, ever lose that again. And, you know, I'm excited about even the future and what's to come, you know, because there's so many people that needs this help out there, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Having gone through the counselling side of things and then having to take the tools back out of your backpack 5 years ago, how easy did you find it to start to repair yourself and not allow your past to define you the second time round?
Oh, good question. Well, for me, it was totally different, because I was facing, obviously, the breakdown of my marriage. It was something completely different, but still it was tough. With 2 young kids, 4 and 8 at the time, and having to start all over again and wonder, was I strong enough to start over again? Would I be okay financially? Could I do this on my own? Could I be a single mom on my own with 2 kids? And can I make this work? So I remember one specific time, and I was actually at the dentist, believe it or not, and I just found myself, just dark cloud coming over me again, and I felt really, my head was going places I didn't want it to go.
Yeah.
So I remember just reaching out straight away to the counselling again and saying, I need an appointment, and I need one, like, quick, I need one now. And, you know, I got that intervention and I got the help again, and I found it powerful, so powerful, because I was carrying a lot of guilt from having made the decision to walk away from my marriage. I was married for 10 years, but for me, I wasn't happy, and I wasn't aligned there again with the real me. So you can have, to the outside world, it might look as if you have everything that anyone could want, but, you know, deep inside, if your soul isn't happy and your heart isn't happy, life's too short. You have to make a decision to do something.
Yeah.
Even though it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, and 5 years later, it's the best thing I ever did for all of us. I have a fantastic relationship with my ex-husband. He's a brilliant dad, but I'm so happy because I'm living life, you know, I'm living life true to myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's powerful, like, you know.
No, that's good. And it's great that you've got that relationship with your ex-husband, because you hear so often of people that just don't have that relationship. I know a couple of times you mentioned the word about being aligned with yourself. How important is it to you to be in that place of alignment? How do you recognize when you're not?
Oh, this, you know, it's so funny, because in the last couple of days, so much has come up for me that has really kind of shook things up. Let's say in, you know, in my career, in different aspects of my life, that has really said, right, Pamela, you need to look at these different areas because you're not aligned. And when something, you know, my values, and it's really making me look at my values. And if something isn't aligned with my value, that's really like, doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel comfortable, I feel I'm not being true to myself. Yeah. And I know it's hard at times, you know, in work and society, that you're not always going to be totally aligned, because, you know, we're going to come across situations and people and different things that will trigger us, and that's just reality. But I know it more so now. It's becoming even more clearer to me now as time goes on, how important they are. And when I'm not aligned, everything is upside down.
Yeah. I'm
frustrated. I'm, you know, agitated within myself and just not feeling it, you know?
No, and it's interesting. I think so many of us fail to acknowledge when we're not in that place of alignment. And I think we don't always know that we're not in a place of alignment, but I know from my own perspective, if I look back at a few years for me, I was in that place of, I was lost. I'd got no identity. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't aware of what my values were. And I think it's only work over recent times where I've begun to actually realize how out of alignment I was, and the impact that it has on you as an individual when you are in that place of alignment. It's almost like all the cards in the deck, they just sit nice and smoothly across the top.
And everything starts to flow, and you just feel so much more happier in yourself and more clear of the direction you're going, and, you know, the kind of people you want around you. And yeah, like, it's like, and even for yourself there, look, today is International Women's Day. And I think for yourself, no more than all of us women out there, look what you have achieved since last week, when you announced that you have completely, you know, you're cancer free completely now. Like, that must feel, I'll interview you for a second. What does that feel like for you? Because that is, I'm so happy for you when you said that. That is just like an amazing news to get. Like,
yeah, it was. It still feels like the last 3 months have been a little bit of a not real, to be honest with you. I mean, I did let out a scream as soon as I put the phone down, and I nearly deafened the husband. But I've had this feeling of smugness of, I told you so, because whilst I'll never dispute the fact that the initial biopsy they did in the lymph node in the neck was cancerous, you know, and I'll never deny that, I'm still convinced that the other 2 areas that they talked about, they got wrong. So everything that I've done, all the diet changes and everything that I've done, when the oncologist phoned, he said about all the inflammation had gone from my body. I've kind of been sat here going, well, I told you so. I knew that I hadn't got cancer. I knew there was no cancer in my body. And I'd worked with Reiki practitioners, and I'd worked with energy healers, and nobody was picking up anything in my body. So it was a moment of smugness, to be honest with you, which I might watch this video back in a few years to come and be kicking myself, but, you know, continue along the route I have been for the last few months, then it would be good to go. But I do think that my recurrence was actually stress related. You know, I'd got people around me that were absolutely draining me, and I wasn't looking after my own mental health. I was getting too embroiled in what was going on in their life, because I've always been one of life's rescuers. And I know, you know, you are very similar in the way that you are, that you care about people and you want to look after people. And I think sometimes when you are that person, you forget to look after yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because, like, you know, so many people reach out to you as well for help, and so many people, it's like automatically nearly come to you. And I remember even when I went through my separation 5 years ago, and I'd be only out shopping in the shop, and I'd have people coming over to me, and I'm like, do I have it wrote on my forehead, or what's the story here? And people would just gravitate to you and just come to you, and it's like, okay, calm down a bit, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, sometimes we definitely do forget about ourselves, and that's why it's so important that, you know, we keep in check with ourselves, and you know, because we can't help anybody else if we're drained, if our cup isn't totally full and overflowing, you know.
No, you're right. And this is the message that I've been trying to get out today for International Women's Day. Is, you know, it's about the health and well-being as well. And, you know, you've got to have that level of self-care. You've got to be able to look after yourself and recognise that as much as we want to be, we can't always be Superwoman. There's be that downtime where you can switch off and just take that time for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why this week I will be launching the Find Your Voice podcast, and to me this is something that I have always wanted to do, but like that would procrastinate, would stop myself because thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not, who wants to listen to me, like what have I to share, what value have I to give? But I love it. I light up every time I speak, every time I do it. So that's telling me it's the right, you know, it's the right journey for me, it's the right direction. And I just so wanted to fall into the right people's hands, you know what I mean? To the hands of people who are really struggling out there, who, you know, with their mental health in these times of all times, you know, they need to have a roadmap. They need to hear people's stories. And my story is really real, raw, honest. And I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I just, you know, and I think that's just the best way to be. It's something to be talked about. It's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. Everybody has a journey. Everybody has a story. So for me, coming out and sharing different aspects of it, I want people who are really struggling to gravitate to it. Because when I was going through it way back, you know, I'll not say when because my age will be given away. But you know, there was no social media. There was nothing out there. So you were totally on your own. And it was such a dark place to be because, you know, you were so on your own.
Yeah.
Where if you had seen somebody on the television talk about mental health, talk about depression, talk about, you know, different aspects of what they were going through, you would have said, Jesus, this is not just happening to me. There's other people out there.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if they can go and have a happy life, maybe I can as well. So now that we have social media and the power of it, if it's used properly, that, you know, for my podcast to fall into those people's hands that really need it, they have somewhere to go. They have an outlet to go to be able to get that support and to be able to hear real, raw, honest stories, because I will be having loads of guests on, sharing their own unique, courageous journeys. And the more people that share, the more people that use their voice and open up and share, then we create this light for so many others that's coming behind us, you know?
Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. So if people want to take part in this or catch up with you on your, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can just they can find me on Facebook through Find Your Voice, or through obviously my name, and they can get me on Instagram as well. So look, I'm on social media platforms, so they'll be able to grab me there. So yeah, so if anyone has a story that wants to share, just give me a message on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll have a conversation, we'll have a chat, and we'll see if it's the right fit for, you know, for the program, and we'll take it from there.
No, that's brilliant. Well, what we'll do is we'll get the links in the comments below as well when I put on, and hopefully we can get a few people getting in touch with you and spread the word really, and see how many people can be helped along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be going, please God, live this week, so I'll be announcing it anyway on social media. So you'll see it there anyway. So yeah. So thank you so much for having me.
No, that's brilliant. Thanks for your patience. We got there eventually. As I said, probably isn't our strong point between the two of us for some reason.
I know. Well, I'm just not a technical person at the best of times, so it's just like if I just press a button and it doesn't work, it's like, okay, what do I do next? You know. So, but anyway, it's fine.
Ether, but that's fine. We got there eventually. So thank you so much for your patience, and thank you for your time today. I'll get
no problem
in the comments, and we'll get you sharing around the world. And if there is anybody out there that resonates with what Pamela's had to say today, please do reach out. You know, you're not alone, and there is lots and lots of help out there. So yeah, so thanks for tuning in. We'll be back on the 22nd with the Women Who Worcestershire talking about the Dawn Project, which is their chosen charity for this year. So have a great rest of the week.
I will indeed, and like, well done to you as well with your great news.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon, and take care.
Catch you soon. Take care. Thanks, Pamela.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.